What's up, y'all?
What's
Hey,
going
what's
on,
up?
guys?
Happy 4th.
Happy 4th.
Happy 4th.
This has been a month. How you guys doing?
Happy 5th.
Happy 5th.
No.
Is that
Well, it's
what we're
actually July 3rd, which is a pretty prominent date in the movie we're about to talk about.
5:31 p.m. if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah,
It's just
Yeah.
very
about 30.
very precise.
Just watched it
Ugh.
like 3 hours ago.
So I think I've told this story in the group, several times, but it definitely pertains to this. So for my ninth birthday, my father was a big Night of the Living Dead fan. He always talked about it. I had not seen it yet, which is really odd because I had seen a lot of other things up to that point. And he's like, hey, Return of the Living Dead is opening up, and do you want to go see it? And I'm like, oh my God, yeah. And I had to get permission from my mom, and she said yes. And my dad took me for my ninth birthday, and it fucking blew me away, man. It was, God damn, it was so good, man. I mean, to be 9 years old and seeing that in the theater, holy shit, man. I was mesmerized.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
My dad didn't cover my eyes on the
Tough love.
naked scene with Linnea.
Oh,
I mean, it's just crazy shit, man.
that's a
Just
cool
fucking
dad
blew
move.
me away.
No,
Yeah.
I was telling one of my friends earlier, it's like a perfect storm of awesomeness. I mean, you have the killer soundtrack, obviously, with one of the greatest themes of all time. The trioxin theme is fantastic. You have a really clever, fresh take on the zombie genre, and you have probably, I think this movie more so than any other, and I know I'm going to get slack from the Evil Dead fans, but it blends horror and comedy so well, like there's like some genuinely good, intense horror scenes. There's some laugh out loud, hilarious scenes, and it really kind of just mixes together, really well. And I mean, it's just a fun movie. It's just, really great.
It's a movie that never should have worked.
Yeah,
I
You know,
know, right?
if you tell me like I'm about to go see a meta sequel to Night of the Living Dead, like where they kind of like tell us that it's based off of true events and
Yeah.
the first and all the it's almost like an unsolved mysteries type of a thing, like the first movie was a reenactment or whatever, and this is like based on like the true events of what happened or whatever. Like even on paper I would have said that sounds like a bad idea, that sounds like a
yeah,
terrible idea, but like the execution is just it's flawless, and
yeah,
it's such a classic horror movie. It's Paul was saying earlier, it's one of those horror films that perfectly meshes the comedy and the horror, and that and doesn't one doesn't overshadow the other, and it's completely
yeah,
it's definitely one of my favorites, and easily one of the best zombie films ever made.
yeah. Hands down. I mean, you know, Adam and I went to a cast reunion a couple of years ago, and some of the cast were saying, we didn't know it was going to be funny.
Hmm. Hmm.
And, they were saying, when they read the line, send more cops, they thought it was like actually like really creepy and chilling because zombies have never talked before in movies. And it just, it was like one of those ideas that like when you see it in the movie, it's hilarious. But like if you're reading it on paper, you know, it could go, if you think you're making a straight horror movie, with, you know, not a lot of gags in it and, jokes in it. like something like that could really change your perspective of the type of movie you're in. But Dan O'Bannon, to his credit, is just such a great storyteller with Alien, Dead and Buried. I mean, these are some of the most original ideas in horror came from that man.
Mhm.
I know,
Mhm.
man. Dan O'Bannon is so good. I think, man, he's like maybe like one film short of being like mentioned on as a possible like Mount Rushmore name.
Yeah,
I don't think he did enough, man. I think he's like one film short because his fucking career is so impeccable.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, The Resurrected, I don't know. It's okay, right?
It's not bad.
Yeah. But Return of the Living Dead is
I mean,
obviously his
when
creme
you
de la
think about it,
creme.
like,
Right.
like Alien and Return of the Living Dead ought to be enough. When you think about, him as a writer, and Dead and Buried is just fantastic. It's just, once again, it's a really original and fresh take on the zombie, story.
And he was involved with Total Recall, right? Didn't he do
Yeah,
that? And
Yeah.
like my favorite Tobe Hooper movie is Invaders from Mars. I get a lot of flack from that, but he was heavily involved in that as well. I
yeah,
mean, as far in Life Force, Dead and Buried. I mean, this dude, his filmography is impeccable.
Yeah.
it really is.
Yes, and maybe there's an argument to be made that he should be up there.
Yeah.
But then who are you taking off? I don't know. But anyways, that's I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I would 100% put him above a lot of like the common names you hear. You know, for those.
He doesn't get mentioned enough. I know
Yeah.
that.
He's definitely underrated.
Yeah.
Well, and think about what Adam was saying earlier. A film that shouldn't have worked. I mean, even legally, Romero took him to court.
Yeah.
And he lost. Otherwise we'd be having a completely different story about this film. I don't even know if they would have fucking made it the same. Who knows? But Romero loses. They keep the title. They get to say what they say in the film, and mention Night of the Living Dead.
Right. Did he take him to court, or was it John Russo, or were they both producers on this film?
Yeah, it was the film itself and everybody involved. So that would have been him. Yeah, because he was writer director.
Russo wrote the book Return of the Living Dead, which is nothing like the movie.
No,
Completely fucking different, right?
Yeah.
Dan O'Bannon took that thing and stripped it down to like the bones, and just basically built that puppy up from scratch.
Yeah.
And it's a work of art, really, what he did with this movie. He turned the zombie genre on its head.
Right.
Like there had never been a zombie movie like this before.
No, it was a first for a lot of fucking things, man.
Yeah, right. And it's cool, and it's also, I mean, Paul, you can attest to this. Is it not one of the most punk rock horror films ever made?
Absolutely. I mean, that soundtrack is fucking killer.
I mean, the whole
so
vibe,
good, right?
The whole vibe is like punk, and it's just like amazing. Every character, I'd go far as to say, almost each and every character in this film. I mean, they're definitely memorable, if not iconic. Like, and they all have a chance to shine. They all have memorable quotes and dialogue. They're still, the ones that are still among us are still, going around the HorrorCon circuit, and probably will for the foreseeable future, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I say the one thing that always bothered the shit out of me though about this one little thing in the movie?
We're starting to get some comics come in.
Oh, nice. Why didn't Suicide turn into a zombie?
Yeah.
They saw him at the end of the film dead on that floor. He should have been a zombie by then. No? I mean, I always wondered why he never turned.
What? Police Academy 5, Citizens on Patrol.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, he's asking what movie are they talking about. Police Academy 5.
It's Return of the Living Dead. Be nice.
Return of the Living Dead. Return of the Living Dead. I'm not.
Yes.
I'm not in a good mood. All right, but anyway, yeah. Why did? How did he die in the film?
Well, Tarman
refresh
gets
my-
him.
Yeah, Tarman gets him, and then he's like dead on the floor when they go in to call the military.
I was just kidding, Sherry. Sorry. Return of the Living Dead. Yeah. Yeah. So why? I guess that is kind of a. I guess that is kind of a plot hole, isn't it?
No, it was. I always thought it was a major plot hole. I mean, Trash comes back. She gets it the same way.
Right.
Yeah, and she's mercifully untouched. She's just got pale skin.
Well, she did. They did give her kind of. Nah. I mean, they did. When she comes back as a zombie, she's got some.
Oh, she's all fucked up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's all like her jaw
yeah,
like
yeah.
unhinges itself to like
Yeah.
attack people and stuff. But I don't know. What do you guys think about? All right, here's a question. Like, the Romero films for most horror fans are kind of seen as, like the holy grail of zombie films for a lack
It
of
should
a
be
better
considered
term.
the holy grail of zombie films.
100%.
But so why? So it's a two-part question. Why did everyone give such slack to how they treated his like mythology, the things they changed in the film, and then B, what do you guys think of the actual changes made to the lore, to what kills a zombie, the origin of the zombies with the trioxin stuff and the military being involved, um, you know, how it's really hard to please a fan base, and particularly when you change a lot of the stuff that came before it, and this movie changes all kinds of things that we had already seen in Night of the Living Dead and Day of the Dead, and I I think this movie came out with the same year as Day of the Dead, didn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's interesting, right?
Well, interesting because this film
Has
kicked
that
the
ever
shit out
happened?
of Day of the Dead at the theater.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
has that ever happened
They're right
ever?
head to head.
Where
Yeah.
where an actual sequel to a film and a spiritual sequel to a film are in the same theater, are in released in the theaters the exact same year. I mean,
It's weird because they're
gotta be
two
unheard of.
different timelines of Night of the Living Dead.
Mhm.
There's actually
It's
3.
yeah.
I
Night of the
mean,
Living Dead
that's
splinters
the-
into two timelines.
Yeah. Because you can go the Romero trilogy into Land of the Dead, Survival of the Dead, and Diary of the Dead.
Yeah.
Oh, we don't got to go that far, do we?
Well, I did in my poll, and then you have Night of the Living Dead, Return of the Living Dead, Return of the Living Dead 2, Return of the Living Dead 3. Now, Necropolis is kind of its own thing, but Rave to the Grave kind of brings it back to that storyline. And then you have, Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, and then Zombie 2, 3, 4, 5, Killing Birds.
Oh, nice. I didn't think about that timeline.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's definitely a
I mean-
timeline.
Holy
I mean-
shit, man. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So, I mean, realistically, you have
It's
three
in
different
it's
paths.
into the
Oh, wow.
zombie verse. It really
That's
is.
crazy, man. No, for real, right? You
Into
can
the
go three
zombie
different
verse.
fucking ways.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. I think me and Ryan said it at the exact same time. Day of the Dead, Return of the
Yeah.
Living Dead beat MCU to the multiverse.
Yeah.
It's so true.
It was right there this whole time.
Yeah.
John says, first time I saw this movie was back in June of '85 with a double feature of Fright Night. That's
Fucking incredible.
it is. That's
That,
amazing.
that sounds
That's
like a great night.
That's a great night. So anyway, so back to like the mythology and lore that got kind of shifted around and changed from the Romero films to this one. What do you
Well,
guys think?
Brains.
Yeah, Yeah, well, I guess we can start there.
Yeah.
In Romero's film, they're just out to like eat anything. They're just, any body part, any organ. But in Return of the Living Dead, it's specifically the brains to like alleviate the pain. Like, brains are like oxycontin uh, to these like agonized zombies, right?
Well, you figure
Goddamn
that's where
farm,
like
big pharma.
Yeah,
that's where most of your hormones are generated. So
yeah,
it makes
yeah. I
sense.
mean, it kind of makes sense. But zombies eating your brain is such a pop culture trope now, and to think that this is the first film that really even went that route is pretty crazy, considering all the zombie films that came before it.
Yeah,
You know?
And then to throw that in with all these new things that, yeah, we might have seen them here or there sprinkled in, but on a full blown scale of like just full on assault running, we'd never seen that before.
The running zombie was born.
yeah. Well, apart from the opening of Night,
Yeah, but
We talking about the opening zombie from Night of the Living Dead, right? Yeah.
yeah, and I agree. I mean, he was shuffling along pretty fast.
Fucking running
But
for
he
sure.
wasn't going, Jesse Owens fast like these guys are. Like they're
Yeah.
they're like freaking triathlon. Not as much as like say 28 days later. Like those zombies like I think could,
or
you
the
know. Well, they're
Zack
not zombies, but you know what I mean.
Zack
Like they
Snyder, Zack Snyder, where they're running up and catching cars and shit.
yeah, yeah. They have like somehow being a decomposing body gives you superhuman strength
The
and
rest of
agility.
them,
Man, that Dawn remake gets worse every time I watch it.
yeah, it really does. Like that movie.
Man, when I first saw it, guys, I was so motherfucking mesmerized. I was like, oh my God, this is fucking amazing. And then
Yeah.
over the years, I'm so ashamed of how I thought of it, man, because it's not a good movie.
No.
What?
I mean,
It's
I wouldn't say
shitty,
it's a
man.
bad
What,
movie.
There's
Dawn of
so
the
many
Dead?
missed
It's
opportunities.
not
Dawn
a
of the
bad
Dead?
movie, but it gets
I don't know about
really,
that.
really stupid in parts.
Dawn.
Like the zombie baby just takes me the whole way the fuck out.
It's really uncalled for.
Because it's like a full grown toddler with, and then I'm like supposed to believe a baby. Like, have you never seen a newborn baby before? There's no teeth. There's no fingernails.
I don't know. I think we've all forgiven worse scenes than that before.
We
No, we
have,
have.
but
Yeah.
like I don't know. It's so stupid.
So you know what I like about it, guys?
Like
The
Dead
intro
Alive,
and the
where they
end.
have,
I
like, the
re-
baby
I
scene
really
in that.
like. I don't know how we segued into this, but I really like the storyline between how they're constantly talking to the guy that owns the gun store, and
Yeah.
they're trying to like figure out a way to get him out of there, and then I don't know. There are some things in that movie that worked for me. I like the head security guard guy. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. But he's the guy that was like the hard ass until
Right.
they
Yeah.
finally.
Ends up dying for him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's missing the social commentary and stuff like that. But it's like, I don't know when compared to like that Las Vegas zombie movie that came out
Oh, right. Army of the Dead.
and like some
Army of
other
the Dead,
stuff.
yeah.
Like, I'll take that any of the day of the week. That opening sequence with Sarah Polly and
It's
like,
incredible.
it's
It's
really-
incredible.
and then they have the
that one tracking shot.
Yeah, it's incredible.
yeah. I mean that is like, I can watch that right now and get goosebumps. And like they have the Johnny Cash song
Oh, it's
playing
incredible.
while
Yeah.
they're intercutting with like news footage
Oh, hey
And-
guys.
and just the car driving along and explosions popping up everywhere. It was great.
Oh man, Adam, Paul, which one's better? The intro for the Dawn of the Dead remake or the intro for 28 Weeks Later? Woo!
And they both are similar.
Wow!
They're both iconic, but so different because 28 weeks later is so
Depressing.
it's quiet and still, and that's where the horror comes from, is just
And then it turns so ferocious, man. It's
that
so
eerie
fucking
emptiness.
ferocious.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
I haven't watched those movies in a while. We should do a watch along.
I would do that. Yeah, I would definitely. I would probably, just because it's fresher in my mind, because I've probably seen it more recently. I'd cast my vote for Dawn of the Dead. But that being said, I'll probably watch the intro tonight, and I might change my mind. Yeah, but those
Oh,
are
that
really good.
subway is so like they're on the subway, and it's just like you just feel that tension, you know?
Yeah, yeah, it's a great movie.
But back to the OG running zombies with Return of the Living Dead. The
Yeah, I
first,
mean,
man, the first of its kind. So we got brains, we got zombies, and they're fucking smart.
well, I
Yeah,
was just gonna say, they're essentially just people
Yeah,
that want to kill you and take your brain, and
yeah.
can't be killed by almost any means. Like,
well, isn't it till two where they electrocute them? I've only seen two
um,
like 3 or 4 times. And
yeah,
Oh, two
not
is man, Paul, two is a shameful piece of shit.
it is like
but
I
like,
just remember thinking about like how awesome the first one's soundtrack was, and the only song I remember from part two is Robert Palmer's "Doctor Doctor, I Got a Bad Case of Loving You." I'm like, what is this? The top 40 version of Return of the Living Dead?
The only good things about part two are the performances from the actors from part one that are in it.
Yeah, but they've reused too many of the same jokes.
I know.
You know,
Well, you know about that movie, right? Like in the book, they talk about how the original premise was they were bringing back every single fucking actor that was in Return of the Living Dead. They were going to bring back all of them, and they were going to give them all completely different roles for part two. All of them were coming back, and something happened. I can't remember what they say in the book, but it fucking fell through, man.
it's
And they only got two of them to come back.
like a season of American Horror Story. They were just gonna.
Oh, dude, it would have been so epic,
Yeah,
man.
I always thought that was crazy that they brought back Bert and
Ernie.
Ernie,
Yeah.
and like these two really well known characters from the first film into the second movie, and we're just supposed to believe that they're like completely different. Like that's a crazy move. That's crazy. I mean, unless they did what Chris said, which, and then it would kind of like be like a thing, like every actor, but like they didn't do that. It was just those two guys.
Yeah.
Two is I look at two. I saw two in the theater as well, man. So I I I can accept two, even though I think it's a horrible movie. I love the artwork that goes with part two. I love the vibe. It's got a great vibe, man. It's pretty cool. It just steers into hokey land way too goddamn much, and it doesn't know how to wrangle itself back into the horror element.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it ends up fucking just failing, man. Ugh.
Yeah. And then I don't know. I love three. I just think three's kind of an interesting take on it.
Different.
It's different, and I felt, it really kind of felt more like a real sequel to two or to one as opposed to part two, where it was just recycled jokes and
Yeah.
a happy ending. You know,
You know what I don't like about part three is I think some of Steve Johnson's stuff in part three is questionable. I'm sure the budget was fucking shit back then,
oh yeah,
especially for that movie. Don't
I'm
get me
pretty
wrong.
sure it was directed.
Steve was amazing, and he was always known for just being able to take low budget things and making incredible, special effects.
Yeah, and part of that
Look at Night of the
Brian
Demons.
too. I mean, Brian Houston's the same. Like all his movies are like that. Where
Yeah.
you
But
know,
man, that there's a couple zombie things in there that was just like, I
yeah,
don't know.
All right, got a comment here from Nate. Part two only purpose was to open the series up for a different direction, with more army involvement, trying to pave a way for part three. They tried the same concept that Evil Dead succeeded with.
huh. I can kind of see that. You know, like because part three, the whole big thing is like the military is trying to find a way to control the trioxin
Yeah,
zombies, and
a lot of ways the zombies have more. They're more similar to the zombies in Reanimator than they are to
Yeah.
not to anything in Romero. If you think about it.
Well, maybe not the main zombie in part three, not the girl, but that main one that with the gray hair and the white eyes.
Yeah.
yeah.
He was real
Well,
badass. That was that was a really really good makeup, and they nailed that one. There's just some other stuff that I didn't care for.
I mean, within the first half an hour, how many tropes from Romero's films had they destroyed? Like the zombie, they smashed him in the head or whatever, and
You
he
mean
was
the movie
still,
Lied?
yeah,
That's
yeah,
my favorite line.
I hit the
Yeah.
fucking brain.
yeah, and like, you know, I think that's fascinating because, in a lot of ways, I mean, with vampire movies and werewolf movies, audiences become settled in with a lot of the mythology and lore, and because it they're so standard within every movie. And here, you have a movie that like completely obliterated everything that we thought we knew about zombies.
and
They weren't slow and meandering. They'll run up and kick you and bite you in the ass. They're not they're not unthinking, you know, carnivores. They are conniving and in some ways intelligent.
well, one
Um,
thing like you just mentioned that, like I think the aspect of the I hit him in the brain. You mean the movie Lied thing? That sets up the overall hopelessness of the situation. Like,
yes. Hmm.
and I
It's
think that's what makes it,
it's
like a
bleaker.
good
Yeah.
horror movie is that like it basically said there's no way to stop this.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree 100%. It's
And
bleak. Yeah.
that's
Sorry.
what makes it really an effective movie. 100%. Like on board with that. And I love bleak ass movies, and this is one of the bleakest.
It is, but it's disguised. It's one of the bleakest.
And it's
Even
hilarious.
even with the end, with the they have no
Nuclear.
other nuclear. The nuclear option was the only option they had, but it's disguised. It's one of the bleakest films, disguised as one of the greatest horror comedies.
Yeah,
Like,
because you can't fucking escape it, man. They just made it worse, and that's
no,
pretty much the end of humanity right there.
Yeah.
it's an unstoppable enemy. The only way
Yeah.
you can kill them is by burning, or is by utter obliteration. But even then, they
Even
find
then,
a
like,
way to get into the environment and
Yeah.
just like spreads its seed.
Yeah.
That's the genius of the movie.
it really is.
So, what do you guys think is the most is Tarman the most
Yes.
iconic zombie in film?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hard, like there's iconic zombies and everything, and in that one, I'm gonna have to say, yeah, it's definitely Tarman.
I think Tarman gets the most press. I'm going to be honest with you. I think, deserve it or not, I think it's Tarman or Bub.
Tarman has more artwork. Like if you look at artwork, Tarman's blows every other one. he has more artwork than all the other ones combined.
Yeah. No, I don't. Yeah, I don't dispute that at all. I see
And
it.
I think there's a great argument. I think it's only a two zombie race between Bub and Tarman. There's other great ones, Flyboy.
Yeah.
I'll put the Zombie 2 worm face in there. I've seen that dude everywhere.
Shark Zombie.
Yeah, but like particularly the conquistador zombie with the worms coming out of his eyes.
Yeah.
Even before I had seen that movie, even before Paul tied me down to a chair and forced me to watch it for the first time, I knew who that zombie was. I had seen that zombie. It had scared the shit out of me. Like just like seeing it on a box, you know. So
what was it? We're here to eat you.
Yeah, something like super disturbing.
We're going to eat you.
Or we're going to eat you, yeah.
Going to a video store used to be badass.
I know, dude. When I was looking at shit like that, it was such a great feeling because I knew I was looking at shit that other kids weren't allowed to, and I was like, fuck yeah.
Yep.
No, I mean, poor Adam's going to watch it next month, with me for my annual viewing for my birthday. And
Return of the Living Dead Part 1?
No.
Zombie 2 and Batman.
Oh.
We should do it every year. Those movies are
without my traditions.
But all right, so there's so many iconic things we can talk about this movie. I mean, what about? I mean, like, so if Tarman is number one, most iconic thing, is Trash number two?
Trash are the one that's on like the morgue table that they interview.
Yeah.
It's not
I'd say she's top 10. I don't know about top 3 or top 5.
Mike Mazzy says my favorite zombie movie is Halloween Ends. Thanks, Mike. Oh, Corey. Can't
Even
wait
mentioning that piece of shit shames this conversation.
He's done
Fuck
his
that
job.
movie, man.
Mike's laughing his ass off right now.
Fuck that movie. I can't even fucking look at that movie without saying fuck that movie.
I mean, like, is this? I mean, is this Linnea Quigley's shining moment? Dancing
yeah,
naked. It's either that or it's Night of the Demons.
And crotchless on a tombstone.
Well, fellas, I'd say Sorority Babes and the Slime Bowl Bolorama. I'd put that right there as well.
Yeah.
I mean that gravestone scene.
When
I saw this as a child, was shocking in all the right ways. I had never seen anything like that before.
So she starts strutting up to that that tombstone, right? And I'm in the theater, and I'm like slouching further and further back into my chair because I'm afraid like my dad, is gonna cover my eyes.
Yeah.
And she fucking gets up there and starts dancing, and I just kind of like side eye my dad, and he's just completely fixated on Linnea dancing. And the only thing that came to my little goddamn mind was, fuck yeah, Dad. Fuck yeah.
You're like, Chris who?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I swear to God, that's exactly what I thought too. Fuck yeah, Dad.
That's great. Well, I mean, if you think about it, it sidesteps the whole birds and the bees conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. That's when I knew I went into the big leagues.
Yeah, right. Yeah, for sure.
So what were your conversations like on the playground after seeing the topless scene in Return of the Living Dead?
Dude, I was such a little fool. I ran to all my friends and I was like, dude, I just saw this movie and it really happened. I'm like, dude, they say it in the beginning of the fucking movie. It really happened.
Yeah.
It's real. if it says that, you know it's real. You know it really
I'm
happened.
like, dude, I saw it, man.
That's tremendous.
Yep.
That's tremendous.
Uh, I love that movie, man.
Oh, it's so good.
All right, what else can we talk about? Like
I
what
mean,
about? Good. Sorry.
well, so some people, their detractors, will bring up some of the shoddy special makeup effects. And to that, I say, yes, there's some, things in there that are like, eh. There's some people in some of those scenes that just have mud on them. They don't even have makeup, which kind of, that's unfortunate. But man, there's some really great things in there. And I think the great things outshine all some of the smaller blemishes. And then you put in like the impeccable writing, like you were saying earlier, Paul,
Yeah.
and you literally have like a damn near flawless film. I mean, I'm not going to say flawless, but damn near.
Yeah.
And that's why I put it right below Night of the Living Dead, because I think Night of the Living Dead is flawless. But man, Return is like right fucking there, man.
So I gotta ask you, effects wise, since you're the effects guy, what had better effects, Day or Return?
Oh, Day.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, Day did. Yep.
because I honestly think that's Tom Savini's shining moment.
Yeah. Day's incredible, man. I mean,
every zombie looks awesome.
dude, man, Day and Return really walk on equal footing with me. I don't know, guys. I mean,
I mean,
I call Day of the Dead the perfect bookend of a perfect trilogy. Day is that film.
Yeah.
Day's got detractors, and I don't fucking get it.
In Day of the Dead, it's hard. Like when you're looking at a shot of just like a horde of zombies, it's hard to spot an extra. Like there would be some scenes in like Dawn or like Return where like you said, like it would just be mud, or like in Dawn it would just be like the really base zombie pale makeup. In Day, it's really hard to find just a zombie who's just a guy. Like that's like he's got nothing going for him other than he's got some blood on him or some dirt.
There's a couple that have there's some like body paint where it's missing, so you see like some flesh tone and spots. But dude, honestly, that's so minuscule because there's so much to look at and it's so amazing, most of it.
Yeah.
That's like a small little fucking bitch that doesn't even really need to be mentioned because it's so amazing. Like there's so many great makeups in that movie, man. There's so many great zombies. There's so many great moments.
Yeah,
there's so much gore. My God, there's so much gore, like hyper gore. Like blew my little fucking mind gore.
Yeah, dude. Like that's like it's Fulci and Day of the Dead are the goriest zombie movies.
Yeah.
Day of the Dead, the gore is like off the charts. I mean, it was not rated for a reason,
right?
And they fully embraced not having to go through any sort of committee with their effects. And can you even imagine a horror film going through, like, you can't even release a movie like that now without going through the Motion Picture Association?
Yeah.
How did they even get away with that?
Did Day of the Dead come out in the wrong year? And I say that because 85 was the spoof horror, Fright Night, Return of the Living Dead, 86 was Texas 2. I mean, that era, right in that little pocket, like 84, 85, 86.
Yeah.
A lot of like movies that had that comedic tone. And Day is so not that, man. I mean, that had to have contributed to it not doing well as opposed to Return doing better.
Nate, has a comment here that I think is kind of interesting. He's basically Return to actually had a parody of it, Michael Jackson's Thriller. I think
Yeah.
Thriller did borrow a lot from Return of the Living Dead Part Two.
I think it's
No, Thriller came out before.
Did it?
Yeah.
So okay, all right.
So
Thriller.
Thriller,
There's no way
Thriller,
it came out before Return of the Living Dead.
Thriller came out in '85.
Oh,
And
did it?
Return 2 came out in '87, so it was a
Okay, all
parody
right.
on Michael Jackson's Thriller.
yeah.
The scene in the movie.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot.
And by the way, man, that's a great makeup and it's funny as hell.
all
But
right.
god damn it, man, it's just one of many moments that just makes that movie it's almost cringe now. It's like, ugh.
Yeah.
So,
But yeah,
all right.
I think if Dawn of the Dead came out in '82, which is my favorite year for horror, where things were a lot darker and just a lot of really, good stuff that was like the unrated aspect. I don't think would have hurt it as much because most horror movies were unrated back then.
Yeah, back then it wouldn't have even have been a
I
blip.
think it wasn't really until like '84 that you started to see like the crackdown on music and movies with like violence and everything else. So I think, yeah, if it was released 3 years ago, I think it would be an instant classic. 3 years prior, like '82, '83, it would have been an instant classic. Whereas, of all of the Romero films, they took the longest to find an audience.
It really did, myself included. Like I always considered this the redheaded stepchild of the series.
Well, I don't think it got the theatrical push that the first two got.
I just didn't enjoy it for whatever reason, and then like it actually, I don't know. It's like so hard. It's upon first watch, it's not a very fun movie.
No.
It becomes better in time when you like some of the dialogue kind of sticks with you, and roads and the effects and the score, like things that don't always jump off at you like the first time you watch a movie. It's almost it's an acquired taste. Like you watch it, and then and then suddenly you're like, okay, I get it, and no, I love it. It's Day of the Dead is one of my favorite horror movies, like period. It's just what it just is.
Brother,
But
you're right about the score, man. I mean, that's another thing, dude. I mean, we talk about these three films, and we said it earlier. It's got to be considered or regarded. You tell me another trilogy in any fucking genre, take to any genre, and tell me a trilogy that stacks up with Night, Dawn, and Day. And another thing that makes those three films so good, the fucking score for each one of those films is fucking ridiculous.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
so good.
And a lot of the music that was in Night of the Living Dead was public domain stuff. It wasn't like stuff even made for that movie.
It's so creepy, man.
Yeah, it's great. It's
I know, and then they tried to re-release it with that 60th anniversary with a different score, and it totally sucked.
yeah, the Night of the Living Dead score, like I can yeah, it's so eerie.
You
know,
put that on when trick or treaters come to your house.
they're all, yeah, absolutely. I always equate that movie with Halloween. Always.
Fuck yeah, man.
Yeah.
I mean, there couldn't be three. You couldn't even pick like three different films. Like it's a trilogy, and they're so different.
So is there anything else? Godfather? Because part 3 is not that good, right? It's a bookend that doesn't work. I don't know.
Star Wars.
I'm starting to like the Godfather 3 more than I did. It's still not anywhere near the first two movies.
Well, I would say Star Wars.
Return of the Jedi.
I love Jedi, man.
Yeah.
Fuck the haters, man.
Honestly, I got the haters for a while on Jedi until I got to see it how I saw it as a kid before like the special edition bullshit ruined
That's
it.
what I saw, man, in the theater.
Yeah. But like I recently rewatched it thanks to the original trilogy.com where they restored it back to the original way it was with the Ewok song and none of that stupid shit on Jabba's palace and the terrible, terrible, terrible effects. Even for the time. Even for the time they were bad.
This conversation is officially all over the place.
Huh?
This conversation is officially all over the place.
I told you I was going to go ADHD. I'm drinking beer. But,
Adam, are you drinking?
What
Are you
day?
drinking, Adam?
What day is it? Yeah, I'm drinking.
but
Let's go back to running zombies.
But yeah, like after seeing the Return of the Jedi, like the original cut of it again, I was like, oh my god, this is so fucking perfect. Why did you fuck that up?
Waxwork 2 did a good scene mimicking Dawn of the Dead mall scene. I don't remember that. Do you guys?
They did.
Okay.
They did. I just watched the Waxworks movies not too long ago, and that was a highlight of Waxworks too.
Okay. I haven't seen that in a minute.
I know one like the back of my hand, but I'm not familiar with two.
Yeah, same.
That's the Anthony Hickok one, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Anthony Hickok, is that how you pronounce his name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, two, not a big fan. But that Dawn of the Dead scene was pretty cool.
You know what that's what I miss about in the remake of Dawn, man, is the fucking there's no takeover of the mall.
Yeah.
Man, that the takeover of the mall is something that makes that movie special to me because I don't know, there's just something about how they do it and the consequences and that's missing, and I think it's a big hole that they can't replace in the remake.
Yeah, because the one thing about the takeover of the mall scene was they had the chance to escape, but they didn't want to. And that's what seals their fate. You know?
Here's a question for you guys. So, Return of the Living Dead is a meta sequel, right? To Night of the Living Dead. Basically, this movie, you know, the events in the first movie happened, but they were changed to cover up, some conspiracy or whatever. And this is what really happened. Can you think of, off the top of your head, can you think of any other movies that might be able to get away with that, with a sort of meta sequel?
The only other meta sequel that I know of is Human Centipede 2.
No, that I'm talking about theoretical films that have not been made that could be.
Oh. I mean, obviously, Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
That's a good one.
I think that one, just right off the top of my head. I mean, really, it feels like it would fit more into the realm of like the slashers in the killer movies, more so than a zombie movie. And I think that's why that based on a true story, the names have not been changed. Like that is just such a great, like it's such a subtle way to tell you that this movie is going to be a shit ton of fun, and that it doesn't take itself so seriously.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think, and then, like Blair Witch 2 did the same thing but they did it in the opposite way where they said that Blair Witch was real and Blair Witch 2 is fake at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah. Right.
I know Chris loves the Blair Witch Project.
I'm not saying shit.
He can, like, I think, if he gets a couple more drinks in him, he'll show us his little witch cross,
Nope.
tramp
Nope.
stamp on his back.
Chris, are you drinking? You're not drinking. You don't
Nope.
drink. Yeah,
I don't
think-
drink.
Yeah, that's not your deal. That's not your bag. All right.
No, I'm just messing with you, man.
Would you
I
guys
also
be
like
open?
Blair Witch 2 more than Blair Witch 1, but
Like, you know how like this, there's like this new Exorcist movie being made by David Gordon Green. So I don't have any confidence in it whatsoever. But I think that would be a good movie that could go with this treatment, where The Exorcist was based on true events. Because like apparently, the book, the book was supposed to be based on true events.
Right.
But then like part two, like could be sort of a like this is what really happened, sort of a thing, and
But I think the one thing that Return of the Living Dead does better than just about any movie is just smash expectations. Like I know you mentioned that it's like the most punk horror movie. It might be street trash, but might be a little bit more punk. But
It does. Street trash doesn't have the attitude Return of the Living Dead has, though, Paul.
no, it doesn't.
Return of the Living Dead is infinitely more watchable.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Street trash is magnificent.
What? You are not going to defend street trash over Return of the Living Dead, are you?
No, I'm not. I'm not going to say that Street Trash is a better movie. I'm just saying Street Trash is pretty awesome too.
It is awesome.
Fair enough.
It is awesome. I like the color palette in Street Trash.
I do. I like everything about Street Trash. Any game where they play football with a dismembered penis is pretty much awesome.
I told you guys, right? My buddy Gary E, who I work with at Legacy, he's in that movie. He worked on the effects for that movie. It was one of the first movies he ever worked on as a kid in New York. So he's Asian, so he's some Asian kid in the movie that gets killed. I don't know what.
Yeah.
I can't remember. It's been a while. But if you watch the movie again, Paul, that's my buddy Gary.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love Street Trash.
They all grew up with that director.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So that guy, never mind. Let's go back to Return of the Living Dead.
Well, I was gonna,
Yeah.
unless you guys have anything else to say about Return of the Living Dead, I was gonna ask you guys for some suggestions of other 4th of July horror watches that we could look for.
I know what you did last summer. That's there. There's this other really great horror movie that you might not have heard of, but it's one of the greatest horror movies I've ever seen. It's called Jaws.
I don't know a horror movie called Jaws. There's a really good action thriller suspense film that I know called Jaws that I used to watch after Temple of Doom, but I don't know the horror version of it. The one where Quint starts killing people on the boat.
I'm pretty sure it's a horror movie.
No, I mean that's fine. We can talk about Jaws. I mean, look.
When
talking about Jaws, like genres almost don't even apply to it. Honestly,
it's that good, yeah.
And like,
I agree, man.
Like whenever it,
right, Paul? I mean, it's
yeah.
Whenever it gets brought up in a horror group, it's. I mean, it clearly. I mean, and it clearly has horrific elements, and it clearly
It's the
Um,
blueprint for every animal horror movie that came out after.
I will
I
give
mean,
you that.
it is, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it itself is horror.
Right.
But I get your point, and it doesn't matter. It's like it's clearly. Here's the deal. Like
And all the
I
sequels.
always feel so. I always feel so weird. Oh yeah, we have to. Somebody said the Amityville horror. I always feel so weird making this argument because horror is my favorite genre, and Jaws is my favorite movie. So it's like, but like, so it's, it would stand to reason that I'd want to combine them. I would do everything in my power to say that Jaws was a horror film, but I just don't see it. I just don't see it. I just never saw it that way. But
Yeah.
but that being said, a lot of people do. A lot of people do. So and there was even a petition at one point to make the shark a
Universal Monsters.
a universal monster and stuff like that. So
What
I
a
have no
fucking
problem.
stupid. What a stupid fucking thing.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. But
That's
people are
fucking
just
stupid, man.
yeah.
That's just my opinion. I think that's fucking stupid.
People just like to add on to things, kind of like the new General Mills, the zombie DJ being slapped on. Like people just like to add on to things, and whether it's good or bad, I don't know. But yeah, but Jaws. I mean, clearly this is a movie that a lot of horror fans watch around the 4th of July,
Yeah.
and with good reason, I would say. I mean, um, and I don't really know of a film greater than Jaws that we could even talk about that would be more, deserving of the holiday.
Yeah, I mean, there's other Fourth of July horror movies. There's Uncle
Yeah, but we're
Sam,
talking about like Uncle Sam
which is Bill
type stuff.
Lustig, and Bill Lustig is always a shit ton of fun.
Yeah,
And I like the Uncle Sam movie. It's actually it's pretty fun. I mean, for a direct to video, no budget, you know, hour and a half way to spend your time. There's a lot worse ways to do it. It's funny. Um,
I just want to throw a shout out there to Nate because he's the only guy hanging with us. He said Uncle Sam 1996.
Yeah.
I like it. I think it's actually pretty good. I think it was actually a lot smarter than I thought it was going to be.
I just want to thank Paul.
It's a really fun, like way to kind of have like a little satirical horror movie. Like when I first saw it, I thought it was gonna be like Ginger Dead Man. I like picked it up. I saw it in the video store, hundreds of times before. And then when I found out it was Bill Lustig, I just said, well, what the hell? I'll give it a chance. And I really liked it. I really did.
Speaking so eloquently
Yeah.
for Uncle Sam.
Yeah. I mean, has have either of you seen it?
I just know about the cover looking awesome. I've never seen it.
It's actually it's really funny.
Like he comes back from the dead. He was like, wasn't he like a dead soldier from overseas?
He was a soldier in the first Iraq War.
Yeah.
And he had PTSD, and he gets killed by his wife because he's kind of an asshole. And then he comes back.
That could happen to any one of us.
And he comes back, and he finds like everyone's lost their patriotic spirit, so he kills people for not being patriotic. And it's actually like a pretty smart, fun movie. I mean, he kills the mayor, for not. I can't remember what thing he did. It was something anti-American that he thought was anti-American. But and then somebody was like defacing like a VFW, and he kills those people. And You know, it's actually like it's very similar to Maniac Cop. If you're in the mood for a Maniac Cop movie set around the fourth, you'll like it.
Yeah, okay.
Um,
It sounds like Maniac Cop.
yeah, it's very similar in vein, which was also Bill Lustig. You
Written
know,
by like Rush Limbaugh or something.
huh?
I said like Maniac Cop written by Rush Limbaugh or something.
Well, it kind of makes fun of that too.
Oh,
So
really? Okay.
yeah, I mean, like the whole movie is pretty. It's it's very tongue in cheek. It's
Okay.
very
Fair enough.
goofy.
Fair enough. Um,
Then
there's
there's
another one that we
I
were
Know
talking.
What You Did Last Summer.
Oh yeah.
I love that fucking movie, guys.
I do
There,
too.
I said it. All right, I said it. I love it.
I watched it with Liv the other night, and it was just Liv is my 11-year-old daughter, if you don't know, and it's a fun movie. It's a ton of fun.
Yup.
Um, you
Suspenseful
know,
as fuck, man.
it is. It does like that scene with the Sarah Michelle Gellar kill is like so good. Like the chase scene that goes through it, and then it does suspense really well. I Know What You Did Last Summer. You know, I,
I
I,
think I like them. I think I like them better than Scream.
a lot of people do.
Ooh, shots fired.
Yeah,
A
dude.
lot of
I did.
people do.
Part
I don't
Scream
know.
1?
Mm, no, but no. Okay, Scream One's a really good movie.
It
Maybe
really
not,
is.
Yeah.
but the rest of the franchise, yes. I don't
I,
like the
I
Scream
put it I
franchise.
put it like a butt hair below Scream 1. I Know What You Did Last Summer 1. I put it right
Agreed.
below it.
Agreed.
And
Yes.
I will put I Know What You Did Last Summer 2 above Scream 2.
Yes. Yeah. 100%.
Um, I
I like the
really,
fisherman as a villain.
yeah,
I like that there's an actual villain and not just random fuckers
Right.
that like got pissed at somebody for some stupid reason and decided to like make a little Craigslist tag team out of it and try to go kill some Sydney and her mom or some shit. Like I like that there's an actual bad guy.
yeah.
I think that's what Scream
And
suffers.
he's not even
That
that bad of a guy. I mean, honestly, if you tried to like drown me and left me for dead, I'd probably not be so happy either.
But I just I love urban legends and I love that like his whole thing is to play on that urban legend of the hook, the guy with the
Yeah,
hook that's left on the car door and like Lover's Lane or whatever, and it just I don't know, I just really dig. I enjoy that kind of like mythology more than screen 1 through 30, where we're trying to figure out why everyone is so pissed off at Sydney to want to fucking kill her.
I agree. But there was Scream 1 and there was I Know What You Did Last Summer 1 and then there was everything else.
Tell you what, I'm a much more bigger asshole than Sydney ever was. I have yet to have somebody come to my door and try to kill me. Knock on wood. But it's like every other year someone is trying to kill this girl. It's
yeah.
like insane. It's fucking crazy.
Her mom fucked a lot of people.
It's legit the most unbelievable series ever.
Right.
And that's why I can never get behind it. It's legit. Like some of these other franchises that embrace the supernatural and this and that, you can
Well,
kind
I
of.
do think that there needs to be some supernatural element after this point in the Scream movies because, like, say what you will about Jason, you know, after part 4, you had to go supernatural.
Okay, how many movies are there in Scream right now?
6.
Okay, and the killer has never won. So why do they keep taking the mantle? I'm going to be the guy this time. Like nobody ever wins. Like if the ghost faced won, it actually won, became like victorious in one film, it would make sense that like other ones would like come to follow. But they always get caught. They always get killed.
Can I make a confession?
Yes.
I've only seen Scream 1, 2, and 3/4 of 3.
Yeah, you're not missing anything.
Actually, you'd be better off if you skipped 2 and 3 and just went to 4.
Yeah.
And 4 was probably my second favorite sequel out of all of them. And then probably 5. And then 6. But like really 1, 4, 5 are the ones that I thought were pretty good movies.
I heard the new one, man. You either really love it or you fucking hate it.
Well, that's every movie now because people are
Yeah, I know.
saying that a movie's fucking average. And that's exactly what Scream 6 is. It's average. And it's like, I don't buy into that. You either love it or you hate it. That's just most people now. Like, you can't. Most movies are average. That's why it's called average.
Most people are average.
Yeah. Most
Are you
movies
saying nuance is gone, Paul?
Yeah. Like, I rated Scream 6 3 out of 5. And that is right down the middle. It is a middle of the road movie. It's not the best thing you'll ever see, not the worst. The worst you'll ever see is Scream 2, which I have at 1.5.
Nice.
But whatever. I told you we were going ADD. I got like no sleep last night. People are setting off fireworks, setting off my dog. They're going to work today.
Oh shit. So what are some other 4th of July / summer films? Horror films.
What about Independence Day?
Oh, that's not a horror movie, but yeah, Independence Day fucking rules.
I mean, it's a genre
There
film.
isn't anybody, regardless of your political background, that wouldn't vote for Bill fucking Pullman
Yeah.
for president. He's like the greatest screen president of all time.
Oh. That movie's such a fucking mess, and I love it, man, because when I saw it, I didn't know any better, and I was like, yeah, it's a mess, but it's my mess.
Well, that's back when we all thought Roland Emmerich was the next Spielberg. Like,
Yeah.
we all thought that anything he put on screen was like a tentpole movie. And what
I
a bunch
worked at the movie
what a bunch
theater.
of idiots we were.
Well, I worked at the movie theater when this came out, and it was huge. It was huge. It was a
It was
ton
huge.
of fun.
Yeah, I did too.
I mean, that
worked at a
movie
theater.
is so much fun.
Yep.
And it's too bad that he went on to like crap afterwards, but
13,000 BC.
but like 10,000 BC. What was the one that was about global warming that he made?
The Inconvenient Truth.
I can't think of what it was called.
The Inconvenient Truth.
Huh?
The Inconvenient The Inconvenient Truth?
No.
No.
That's a document. It's a document Al Gore.
That's not. No.
It's a
Roland
joke.
Emmerich.
It's a
joke.
horrific
Like some
film.
movie. I just remember they were like flooding in the New York Metropolitan Museum or something like that. It was really fucking stupid. And then he did that other one about 2012. And, I said, it's a damn shame. This came up in my memories from 2012. It's a damn shame that the world did not end in 2012 and that the aliens that were going to end the world didn't choose Plan 9. It involves the resurrection of the dead. They're like, dude, if you're gonna end the fucking world, how awesome would it be if they just picked Ed Wood's way to end the world?
It was scoping out neighborhoods in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And do you guys have any other movies you want to bring up?
Well, let's talk about summer movies, man. Let's just talk about summer in general, summer films. Sleepaway Camp, Humongous.
Shoot. Yeah, I know you like Humongous a lot.
Dude, I love him. Dude, you guys know that movie, right? Those kids go to that island and there's that like inbred fucking kid.
Yes. I don't watch it a lot. I've seen it once or twice. I think it was on Tubi for
It's
a
just
minute.
cool, man. It's got a really cool vibe. I like it.
Have you seen that one, Paul? Humongous?
I have not.
Paul, it's got great artwork too, man. It's got this, it's like a fence, right, Adam? And it's got like this eye that's looking through this hole in the fence.
Oh, I just thought of a 4th of July movie that we did not talk about. Silver Bullet. It opens on
Oh, shit.
That's
That's
when
a
it
good
begins.
fucking movie. That's wow.
Oh,
I'm actually feeling pretty shitty that I didn't.
wow. That's your favorite movie, Adam.
It's not my favorite movie, but it is a personal favorite of mine, and it is one that I should have thought about. It is definitely one I should have thought about because that bridge scene is probably the highlight of the whole movie.
It is.
When he shoots the werewolf, hey, spoil and whatever. When he shoots the werewolf with the bottle rocket right in the fucking eye.
Yeah.
I mean, that whole scene. I've always said that the Bullet is just someone like they were trying to get the Spielbergian vibes on a werewolf film. They were trying to do Amblin with werewolves, and
I mean,
that
how awesome would it be if you could get a remake of Silver Bullet with like the Stranger Things people to do it?
yeah, those are 100%. That is totally the vibe that I wish they would go for every season. I wish it wasn't the fucking underground or whatever the fuck it is, the upside down. You know, they should have anyway. But yeah, that would be a perfect marriage.
And then you can fix the werewolf at the end, which sucks. I mean, we all know it sucks. And but like that Rob Bottin sequence in the church is awesome. I mean, Silver Bullet's just a fucking great movie.
Well, see, it's so good.
Till the reveal. And then you're like, what the fuck am I scared of?
But still, it's so good. It overcomes that. Just like Evil Dead. Evil Dead 1 is so good. It overcomes the claymation fight at the end.
Yeah.
So the writing and just the way the movie is, and at that point you're so invested, it doesn't fucking matter. Yeah, at first you're like, but then you're just like, whatever. And then you just go with it.
Yeah.
I love Silver Bullet, man. It's fucking great. It's a great movie.
It is.
It's the only thing it's missing is a werewolf.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you have great werewolves. I don't know why
it's so funny.
From the church scene.
The transformation scenes are great. It's just the end result that sucks. Even when he's lying there dying and he's slowly turning into back into Reverend Lowe. That's a great special. The effects are fucking top notch.
I agree, man. It's a real fucking kick in the balls, man.
And the only other one that I can think of is Final Destination 3. And I actually really like I like all of the Final Destination movies. I have a shit ton of fun when I watch them.
Argument to be made that that's one of the strongest horror franchises of all time.
It is. It is. And it's such a simple concept. Like you cheat death and then death comes for you in a really fucked up way. But like, like people talk about like, I talk about like how movies don't really scare me anymore. But I'll tell you what, anytime I'm behind a logging truck, I feel my blood pressure rise. And that's part two. But I mean, like that scene really fucked me up. So much that like when my kids get their driver's licenses, they have to watch that scene so they can see every stupid thing a driver does.
Dude, that franchise, the way it ended, god damn, man. I mean, I'm hard pressed to think of another franchise that ends like that. That's just, I was sitting there, I'm like, no fucking way. And I was
Yeah.
just like, no fucking way. And I couldn't believe what I was watching, that they were actually doing that.
Yeah.
Because it fucking comes out of nowhere, man. They give you nothing. And then you see that in that moment and you're like, they're tying it back? Oh, fellas, man. That is writing and horror on a different fucking level, man. I love the way the last one ended.
Yeah.
I think one of the all-time great endings in a horror film. That's how good that fucking ending is. What a great idea.
Yeah. I love those movies, and I will go see every single one in the theater and just have the time of my life,
Yeah.
you know? So, yeah, that's pretty much it. I saw a couple other 4th of July movies, but I'm not as familiar with them. The Tripper I only saw once with the Ronald Reagan slasher.
I look at movies like Wrong Turn. I look at that as like a 4th of July summer movie.
Yeah.
So that's it, fellas. So in your head, or let's talk about it out loud. Let's get like a list of 25 summer / 4th of July must watch films.
Okay. Slashers or
And just a list in general in no particular order. And then we can figure out maybe like a must top 5.
All right, for me, first movie I think of when I think of summer horror is Humanoids from the Deep. I watch it every summer. I fucking love that movie. It's totally great. First one off the top of my head, just thinking that's another 4th of July movie.
Adam, you know that movie?
yeah. Roger Corman.
Yeah. I need to refresh myself with that film, Paul. I can't say that I remember it much.
Yeah, it's a fun little creature movie. It's very sleazy, but it's
Boteen did some shit for it.
yeah. I think that was the last movie that Gail Hurd worked for Roger Corman on, because she went on to do Terminator with Cameron, and she just followed Cameron. But yeah, that's good. The Piranha movies are always good for summer horror.
The Burning would be a good one.
It is my comfort movie. When I'm really down in the dumps, I like to watch it. Puts a smile on my face.
Did you say The Burning? Adam?
I did, yeah. I said The Burning. What about, for some reason, I think Poltergeist takes place around this time.
It does. He's watching the 4th of July thing when he falls asleep on the TV and the ghost first appear.
Right. Yeah. And I always think of Poltergeist as a summer movie because it's just, it's such it's California, it's suburban California. And
Yeah.
and almost the entire film well, maybe I shouldn't say it, but a great majority of the film takes place during the day. It's just bright, sunny, suburban California.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, I always just picture Poltergeist as a summer movie.
It's crazy, man. I've seen neighborhoods out here that look exactly like that. I'm like, oh, I want to live here.
Yeah, where like every house looks the same,
Yeah.
but like it's beautiful. You can't take anything away from that. Um, what about Lost Boys?
Oh, that's a total summer film.
Yeah.
You know, being a
One of the
teenager,
all-time greats, obviously.
being a teenager on the boardwalk and the beach, and I don't know anything in California is kind of almost synonymous for me with summer, just because like that's the weather you fuckers get all year round.
It's
Yeah.
true.
It's like, oh, okay, yeah.
So like,
So maybe it's not necessarily summer. Maybe it's California, but it's hard for somebody that gets these hellish 8 months out of the year to differentiate.
yeah, I would.
Pittsburgh's got some harsh fucking winters, man.
Dude, they're brutal.
They are,
They are brutal.
but you appreciate the change in seasons.
And dopamine. You're like, oh man, I don't want to kill myself today.
You can
Yeah.
you can keep all that appreciation, Paul. Fuck all that, man. I don't want it.
You're like, I wonder what's different. And you're like, oh yeah, it's just
Dude,
been
I would
sunny
be
for a few days.
cool if there was like a place on the planet that was like summer for 3 months of the year, and then you had a fall, and then you were back to summer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like,
There's
that-
there's no place on the planet that is just fall
yeah.
almost all year round, and that's unfortunate.
I mean, like my favorite time of the year is August, September, and October.
Halloween's hot out here, man. Every year. It's usually like,
It snows here sometimes.
fuck, man.
Yeah, dude, you got to change. You got to change your Halloween costume accordingly.
I used to have to do that as a kid sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, the worst was my mom used to make me wear my snowsuit underneath my.
My mom used to try to get me to do that too, but I would suffer for my art, and I'd be like,
Yeah.
no, I don't care how cool it is. Dracula does not walk around with a puffy. It doesn't look like
puffy vest.
a puffy vest. Yeah. Like, I'll freeze. I don't care. Anyway, yeah. So that's a good one, Poltergeist, and
Sleepaway Camp.
Sleepaway Camp. Clear. Yep. Like I think any camp movie or any movie that takes place by the water,
Yeah.
any horror movie that fits those two criteria are going to. Oh, here we go. This is a good comment. Hold on, let's see. Friday the 13th, Critters, Cujo, Hills Have Eyes, Kevin Woods, The Final Girls, and It. Who posted that? Probably our boy. Who said that? That was Nate. I tell you what. Other than some of the, obviously Friday the 13th, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But one that I didn't think of off the top of my head, Critters, is absolutely a movie that I think of as a summer movie. I think of it as a summer movie. I just, it's summer out in like the farmlands. I totally think of Critters as a summer movie. And I always have. Actually, I think of UFOs, like movies that have to do with aliens and UFOs. I primarily think of for spring and summer for what aliens are and alien horror and summer go hand in hand.
Strange. Yeah, I look at a film like, remember that movie Strange Invaders? I look at that as a
Yeah.
summer film.
Yeah. Good call, Nate. And Cujo is definitely a summer movie. That movie, I mean, the
Is
heat.
it? Is it a summer movie?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The
I
heat.
haven't seen it in a while.
Them being trapped in the car with the summer heat beating
Okay.
down on them, and having like they run out of liquid, like being heat exhaustion and dying of thirst are just as um, problematic as the dog trying to kill them. Like it's like pick your poison. They're either going to die from heat, from being sitting in the sun, this unforgiving sun for days on end, dying of thirst, or this dog. And it's like the mom is trying to figure out what to do. I've been meaning to watch that for a long time. That's not a fun watch, Cujo, but it's a really good movie. I mean,
Well, yeah, what
it's
makes
basically just
it
watching these
feel
people
good
suffer.
is that like
The
you
people
can
are suffering.
see
The dog is
safety,
suffering.
but you can't get to it. You
Yeah.
know, like
Right.
that
Because
house.
the house is like right there.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you know you're not going to make it.
Right.
Good fucking movie though, man.
What about Invaders from Mars?
Yeah, I mean, I think of that one a little bit more as a fall movie just because of the role of the teacher in school.
Yeah, I
But
guess.
like a late summer movie, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you're probably right there.
Oh, what about The Gate? I look at The Gate as a summer movie.
Gate is 100% a summer movie.
Yeah.
Yes. Because that movie, it just makes you think of summer vacation.
I saw it in the summer in the theater.
Because right, it's just basically you don't have school, you're just hanging out with your friends all day, and then you find like a gate to hell in a tree. Like this is basically what I looked for every day when I was a kid, hoping something like this would happen to me, and it just never fucking did. But that was like the great, yeah, that's a great, and the parents are leaving on vacation, and they leave the kids behind. And the kids don't have to do anything.
Which was perfectly acceptable back then. That shit was written into how many fucking movies?
Yep.
Yeah.
Like it almost didn't even matter. As long as you had a sibling, like one of the children was like at least 10. The parents would just be like, see ya. Going to France and shit. And then like it would just yeah. So much horror has been compromised by modern day tendencies and cell phones.
Like, honestly, though, you think about like summer release movies. We just had the anniversary of The Thing. I cannot believe they released that shit in the summer. Like, who the hell wants to go to Antarctica when you're going to the beach? Like, if that movie was released in the winter, I think it might have had a chance.
You're talking about The Thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not a summer movie.
It really isn't.
I know it was released in the summer, but I don't feel it's a summer film.
No, I feel like they really screwed up with that.
Yeah, you're right. I kind of, unless they really were just overly optimistic about how that movie was going to perform. But yeah, that movie begs to be released in the fall, if not the dead of winter.
No, it does. I mean, like we talked about having like a snow day once where we watched the bleakest shit ever and watched like The Shining and The Thing.
Yeah.
And,
What a double feature.
All right, here's one. How about Creepshow? Creepshow 1 or 2?
I would say more 2 than 1.
2's definitely a summer movie.
Mm-hmm.
Not 1. 1's definitely a fall film.
Well, I'm
Although I
thinking of
watch it on
like
Father's Day because of the Father's Day episode.
yeah,
Yeah.
maybe you're right. I was thinking of like Ted Danson, the sequence of him on the beach, but even then, Leslie Nielsen is pretty like buttoned up. Like
Yeah.
he's not sitting there in shorts, which actually would add to the torture. So not only is he sitting there on a beach, but that had to be cold as shit. But yeah, Creepshow 2 is it's a summer horror movie.
Yeah, I mean, even like
Take away the raft.
old Chief
Like,
Woodenhead story, and
yeah, and Thanks for the Rat Lady. Although I guess that one's more ambiguous about when it takes place, but the first two films I would consider in the summer.
yeah, I mean, summer I either do sci-fi or I do slashers. I mean, there's so many great camp slashers. And
Yeah,
bless you.
bless you, dude. What about Christine? No.
Christine's a fall film.
Like fall.
Yeah, it's a fall film.
And New Year's.
And New Year's.
Because they celebrate New Year's. That's
right.
You could watch that movie on New Year's too.
Well,
there's so many slasher films that are summer, that have summer vibes. Zombie films that have summer vibes, I'm not too sure about.
Day of the Dead's the only one I can think of.
Yeah.
That's what I love so much about it.
Day of the Dead, Zombie.
Yeah, Zombie. It's very tropical.
Actually, all of the zombies.
Piranha. How about Piranha?
Yeah, I mean, I love the Piranha movie.
Have we talked about Piranha? We might have.
I mentioned it.
Oh, okay.
Piranha 3 is my comfort movie.
Right. All right.
How are the new ones? The new ones are pretty good.
Yeah. I love Piranha 3.
Yeah.
I watch it whenever I'm in a bad mood, and it just puts a smile on my face. I mean, what better way to, celebrate summer than watching Eli Roth get decapitated?
How about Prince of Darkness?
I feel like that falls more in the fall. Like whenever I feel like devil stuff and the traditional villain.
I just remember it being in day. I kind of get his point though.
It's
always day. It's day a lot. And I kind of feel like it's just really hot. It's just California and everyone just wears hoodies like Chris. Even though it's hot out.
It's true.
All
right. You guys got any other movies you want to shout out before we sign off?
No. I'm good.
I'm sorry, guys. My kids are like, there's like a world war happening behind these walls. It's insane right now. You guys don't hear that, right?
No, I don't hear anything.
Oh, that's amazing. Good. Because I swear to God, I thought I just heard murder happen.
Yeah.
No, we can continue the conversation. I just
let's keep going.
We're dwindling down on like actual movies, so I am going to end the broadcast unless we can think of another movie or two we want to talk about real quick.
We can talk about the big battle that's been going on in the group about Evil Dead 2 being a remake or a sequel.
Oh Lord,
that might be a whole other episode.
There's
Hey, did we not? You know what? We did that whole damn show on the Evil Dead franchise, Adam, and we didn't talk about that, did we?
No, it wasn't first. It wasn't up. That hadn't come up a whole lot at that.
We did a whole goddamn show about that franchise, and we didn't discuss that little nugget.
Yeah. No, it hadn't come up yet.
You know what's really fascinating is it's totally like a two-sided coin in the in the group. You have like over here, and then you have over there.
Yeah. Eh.
I mean,
I don't think it's a remake. I think it's a sequel. So that's my take.
the problem is that they had to hire actors to do the recap. So it seems like, why is he back there? Because De Laurentiis wouldn't pay to license the first movie for footage. So I don't know.
Chris is like, I'm not buying any of this.
I don't know, guys. I
Chris is
don't
like,
know, man.
I'm not buying it.
Well, I mean, you know what I said, Adam. Like, I don't, so Sam and Dino came out and said he wanted them to remake part 1. I mean, he openly said that. So you have the producer of the film that wanted that. They couldn't get the rights to make a direct sequel. You got your producer going, well, I want to remake anyways. So they had to remake the introduction of that character. And I feel if you have to retell or remake the origin of your main character, that is a remaking of that character. And I think if I don't think you can be part remake and then the rest sequel. I don't think that's a thing. You're either a remake or you're not. And that's how I look at it. That's all I'm saying. I look at it as I don't think logically you can be 10% remake and then 90% sequel. I think if you're remaking anything and it's especially the origin of your main character, that's a remake, man. That's a retelling. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm saying it nice though. I mean,
we need
there
to
was
do that.
There were some fucking people in the group that were like,
we need to
I'm
do,
like, no, man. I'm not like
a straight remake episode, and we can talk about these in depth. Because not only this movie, but other remakes could probably, if you scrutinized it like that, could possibly, bend under the microscope. I don't know.
That's a good question. I was thinking about that. Like, what is there precedent? Is there anything else that's ever been like this? I don't know, man. I couldn't think of anything.
No, even
where they remade part of the film. No,
they have like 40 minutes of prior film footage, like Silent Night, Deadly Night 2. They were able to license their own film. Now, Campbell says if you want to do it as a sequel, you just go to the part where he's being dragged through the woods and you just hit play there.
right.
But,
that's a direct quote.
yes.
Yeah, he did say something like that. Yep, I read that.
Well,
it's weird. It doesn't make sense to me, but I understand, man. I understand people that want to connect those. I get it.
That's almost definitive. No?
I don't know if that's him trying to please people, man. That's like they came out with that fucking word requel. The fuck is requel? So I told this cat in the group, man. I'm like, man, you're using you guys are using made up words. Like, come on. Because you can't use a made up word to I don't know. I know the made up word's coming from the creator of the franchise, but I'm telling you, man, they're saying that because they know there's two factions in the franchise and they don't want it to splinter apart like Star Wars.
Yeah.
So they're like, listen, guys, it can be this and it can be that.
Right.
I'm going to attempt to cut the movies together and see if it makes fucking sense what he's saying. Who knows? Maybe it'll show that that he's right and that he has a point. And who knows if it doesn't.
But just Ash is a different person. He goes through different things. He
Yeah.
goes through way more shit in part one. He kills more in part one. His motives are different in each one. So that's that I look at him and I'm like, okay, well, yeah, I know it's only 10%, but it's still, it's 10% remake. So that I think that creates like a different version of Ash.
I think so too, because he's definitely more arrogant and cocky in the Ash that we all love. But I'll tell you what, I'll cut these two together and I'll put them together. We'll put them on the server. We'll have a watch along and, we can discuss.
Yeah, man, let's do a watch along soon.
Thanks for hanging out with us, Nate. We appreciate it. You threw some good quality questions and comments while we were talking. Thank you.
Yes, thanks for hanging out.
So yeah, let's do that. Let's organize that watch along and see what we can spring from there. And I do. We talked about it a long time ago. I still want to do a remake episode because I think we could really delve into a lot of things, comparisons and some
like the remakes that work, the remakes that fail,
and go into depth into this Evil Dead 2 thing. Because I think that would be a worthwhile. I mean, that could be an entire episode on itself. So I don't want to just talk about it now as kind of like tacked on tail end conversation on this one.
Yeah,
and I think we could actually go into like pretty good depth on that one.
Yeah,
and kind of like look at it from all sides.
Yeah, I'm okay with a remake episode as long as we don't talk about the thing, because it's not a remake.
Yeah, what's the book called? What's the book called?
Who Goes There?
And what was the first film adaptation called?
The Thing from Another World.
And what was the Carpenter version called?
The Thing.
So those are the only two adaptations that call it The Thing.
There's actually a third one adaptation of that called Horror Express.
But it's not called The Thing.
Yeah.
We're talking about The Thing being a remake of The Thing from Another World.
Why don't you think that's a remake, Paul?
Because it's totally different.
Even though they're both adaptations from the same source material, and they're the only two called The Thing.
See, I view it as different.
The book isn't even the book is not called The Thing.
Okay,
the book is not called The Thing.
Yeah.
The book is called Who Goes There.
Yeah.
A Thing from Another World has The Thing. The Thing from the 80s is called The Thing. The remake.
No, wrong.
I hope they make a movie called Who Goes There someday, but they haven't yet. It's The Thing.
What if that's the sequel?
Hope it is. Hope they just keep calling it The Thing. All right. Anyways, I think we're going to sign out here. An hour 43 minutes in. We can keep the conversation going, but I think the episode is all over the place at this point.
Yeah.
So we started with the Return of the Living Dead, and look what we're talking about now. So we'll end it here. Everyone that tuned in, thank you. I think we're going to try to organize a remake episode at some point, and some other things. So from Adam and Paul and our man Chris, thanks for watching, and everyone that did.
Yep.
All right, later, guys.